Why I tell clients to watch themselves back.
On cam ready in three, two, one.
Hey, everybody, this is On Cam Ready. I'm Jamie Maglietta. This is all part of the Think Like a Producer podcast. I've decided to move these tutorials over to this podcast because I was using this podcast to review shows and give you producer tips, like teaching you how to think like a producer. So I thought if I'm going to be jumping on the mic a few times a week, I might as well just incorporate it into that podcast and then I'll still review shows once in a while. So for right now, I hope you are enjoying this long list of tips that I've been dumping on this show. This is a YouTube only podcast. So if you're liking it, be sure to subscribe to the channel on Cam Ready Media. There's also the podcast Unknown to Known, which is across all podcasting platforms where I interview TV personalities, former anchors and news reporters, podcasters, YouTubers, influencers, you name it. I use that podcast to focus on mindset to really help you shape your strategy and overcome the challenges you have potentially more internally than externally. But there are some external challenges that some of our guests face that are definitely worth listening to. I will also be using the channel to offer tutorials that are more technical. How do you podcast? How do you get the right lights or the best mics? So check out my Amazon storefront if you need suggestions and also check out those videos. Now to this topic, why I tell clients to watch themselves back. You will never improve what you refuse to watch. Every time I tell clients to rewatch their footage, they cringe, but then they transform. When I show them that they're putting their hands up here and talking like a dinosaur, suddenly, they realize they need to animate a little less and they need some help positioning their hands. When I show them footage and they're kind of like got this triple chin going on, I start telling them, well, if you lean forward a little bit, your jaw looks a little tighter and you won't have as many double chins if you just try to shut out your face a little bit. What do you think these anchors do? They're not just sitting there like this all the time. They're positioning themselves, perfect posture, rolled back shoulders. Get it going. Practice, guys, practice. Okay. In television, we had something called air checks. After a show, anchors, producers, and directors, well, we did gather and rewatch what we broadcast and kind of give each other tips, pointers, and point things out that we want to change in the future. We didn't do this daily, it was more quarterly, and it didn't really happen every year I was in production, but we did have these meetings where we would watch things back and critique. In most cases, it wasn't really a watch and talk. It was a let's just talk and brainstorm what worked, what didn't. But when we watched it back, that's when we really saw growth. We'd analyze the tone, pacing, transitions, even the posture and what the anchor would wear and how she was communicating to the audience. Watching it back when you're not producing it really helps everyone see what's going wrong and what's going right. Because when you see yourself, you start understanding how others experience you. If you aren't someone who's very self aware, or you think you're self aware, but you're really not, watching yourself back is also going to help you figure out your best angles and show you ways to be more relatable through a camera lens. But here's the thing, most people avoid watching themselves back because, yeah, it's uncomfortable. They focus on how their voice sounds or how they look on camera instead of working. This discomfort, though, is ego, guys. Confidence comes when you separate yourself from the communicator. When my clients finally start reviewing the recordings, something shifts. They stop saying, I hate how I sound, and start saying, I could slow down there. I could deliver that differently. Or that message landed. I see the growth. Thank you. Watching yourself back builds awareness. When I'm coaching clients, what I try to do is create little mini scripts and then we just shoot content. And while they're recording their short content scripts, I give them tips on how to position themselves, ways they could be communicating with their eyes and their voice. Coming up with habits takes practice, and social media is a great way to be practicing on the regular in short bites. versus podcasting, which is more long form. You might start to notice that you talk too fast. Maybe your hands distract from everything you're saying because they're wildly all over the place. Maybe you light up when you hit certain topics. And that is how you start to figure out what your sweet spot is. In every newsroom I worked in, the best on camera talent wanted feedback. They'd walk into the control room asking, "How is my hit?" Because pros know feedback is how you level up. I'll never forget, I was sitting in the control room and I was at CNN, and this anchor was a reporter, print, and came to CNN, and he was on camera for the first time. I think it might have been his first month on camera. And he came in and he asked me, "How did I do?" So I told him and I said, "Well, you may want to position your shoulders a little differently. It made you look like you were slouching. And I think you might be too happy when you're talking on camera, given those types of tips." And I'll never forget it because he didn't either. And years later, I remember him coming back and being like, "Thanks for those tips." I've had so many reporters that I've critiqued over the years come back and say, "You know what you're doing. Thank you so much for pointing those issues out and helping me on camera." And it's really all about just playing it back for them, sometimes just verbally. They need that honest opinion. So that's what I would deliver. But truly believe watching yourself back with a critic next to you is the ultimate game changer. And that's why I loved watching the show back with our entire team and critiquing it. That was always really fun and sometimes sad because you're like, "Oh, I thought that worked out." And you're like, "No, it didn't." So the next time you record a podcast, video, media interview, a short reel, watch it back. Not to judge yourself, but to study your craft. It's the latest path to confidence because you can't become on camera ready if you're not willing to see what others already see. Be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel so you get notified when I release episodes of Think Like a Producer or Unknown to Known, or post new tutorials to help you navigate all this technology that you need to look good on camera. I hope you're enjoying this channel. I'm really trying to make it all about the pillars that hold up what it means to be on camera ready, the mindset, the technology, the thinking like a producer. And I'm even going to start dabbling with fashion. So let's get you on cam ready. Visit my website, oncamready.com, and join my visibility program if you really want to start focusing on your personal brand and showing up strategically. Now for the next episode of Think Like a Producer or Unknown to Known.